Rory, co-founder, CEO, delighted to be here. Thank you very much, everyone, for giving up your evening to learn about Buyer Enablement.
Hi everyone, I'm looking at some people finishing their pizza and I really wish I had a slice. But my name is Malvina and I'm the Director of Sales Enablement at Reachdesk.
Hey guys, my name is Aaron Evans. I work for an organisation called FlowState with my co-founder Raphael. We're sitting in the second row there. And we are a sales enablement consultancy helping organisations to either get better at sales enablement through skill, through best practice, and obviously add extra capacity as well.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Alice, CMO at Cognism, so I'm here just to give the marketing perspective to the conversation. What is Buyer Enablement?
I guess that's why we do.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a
Yeah, go for it.
Using trumpet.
Is that right?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it like making life easier for your clients?
God forbid, eh?
Well, I guess the king of Buyer Enablement, do you want to give the proper definition?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's making it easier for your buyers to buy. So thinking about their journey, removing friction, and just making it seamless. And it's as simple as that. It's quite difficult at the same time.
I'm passionate about sales enablement. I love what I do, but I absolutely hate being discovered on. I hate it. And whenever I join a discovery conversation, I am very much of the mindset, just show me what you do, like show me the product, show me the features, then we can have a conversation around it. And I don't know if there's a big element of discovery fatigue that is happening now. People feel exhausted, they genuinely feel tired, they feel like time is so precious, right? To give up 30 minutes or 45 minutes of your time, that's a big chunk of your day that you can spend doing things that you're actually going to get paid for. But it's how do you use those 30 and 45 minutes effectively? And ultimately, people want to see your product. They want to see what you have to offer. And that's the point at which they want to have a conversation. So a big focus for me this year in particular is how do we enable SDRs, AEs, AMs, CS to have those meaningful conversations where we're actually adding value rather than asking questions that frustrate the buyer, right? Because you will notice very quickly when your buyer or potential buyer on the other side is getting angry, annoyed, frustrated, losing interest, checking the phone, typing something to someone on Slack.
Is what buyers are craving from salespeople at the moment, right? Is that they want to know what those icebergs in the distance are. They want to know something that they can't access through the internet. We're probably going to have a round about marketing about this later, but that's okay, right? But there's so much information for buyers at the moment. There's too much information, right? What they want access to is information that they can't get anywhere else. Go back 30 years ago, the salesperson used to give that to them because we were the gatekeeper to all the information. So when they wanted something, they'd have to go and speak to a salesperson. Nowadays, they can go online, they can find out exactly what their problem is, diagnose it, and then eventually when they've made a decision, they speak to a salesperson. And then the salesperson then tries to learn about these problems. They're like, I already know this, just tell me the price and show me the product. Where we can add intrinsic value, deep value, is precisely that. Things that they can't access anywhere else. Customer stories, expertise, like knowledge that you have that they can't get anywhere else. And that for me is the big part of the value that the salesperson can bring to the experience.
I mean, I just think the bar is actually super low, to be impressive today. This is the same old emails that I get in my inbox, the same old LinkedIn messages, connection, pitch straight away, absolutely zero value added to my life, and straight away there's an ask there. They haven't taken even 5 minutes to look at the kind of things I talk about, the kind of things that I'm interested in, the problems that matter to me. And then, so it means that to cut through that noise is actually really, really easy. It's not a hard problem to solve. You just need to take a little bit more time, be a little bit more thoughtful, just got to take away this whole idea of copy and paste and mass spam and chuck something at all and hope it sticks type approach to things.
Throughout the entire journey, from the first touch point, I think we focus too much on, we're solving benefits and things like that. We're not focusing on impact enough. And I think that's kind of what you were touching on, Aaron. I think also, just to kind of go back to what you were saying as well, 5% of a buyer's time is spent with individual vendors. It's like nothing. It's decreased massively. So that experience, 86% of buyers value the experience as much as the product or service. So I think having that mindset is like, it's not an if, it's a must now, from the first touch point. So yeah, I think you've got to think ahead of like the full journey that they're going through. It depends where you're getting the data from. Like on our side, the way we use Trumpet is we start to get insights into when people are interacting with the microsites, what they're doing. Then I think that helps you to identify, is there engagement here? Are they actually revisiting this? Are they sharing it with their team? Whether it's Trumpet, another tool, anything like that that can help you understand, did they open? My email is like layer one, and we've all got that. But going deeper, whether it's a PDF, it's a Loom recording, it's a video, anything like that, you've got to be relying on data to understand what deals to focus on, especially in this current market. Like it is, you can't always be in their shoes, in their office, seeing who they're talking to. So leveraging certain technology will help you unlock that data so that you can spend time on the right opportunities and invest in the right champions to make their life easy.
The research shows that actually there's too much thought leadership out there for the buyer at the moment, right? So what does this mean? It's creating analysis paralysis in the buyer, because there's so much good quality thought leadership and some of it actually conflicting. So they're sitting there going, oh, this is a brilliant white paper on this over here, and then there's this white paper here that's brilliant, but they're actually conflicting, but they're both brilliant, right? It's like going to the doctor and getting with 5 doctors and getting 5 brilliant diagnoses, but they're all really, really different. So this is creating indecision in the buyer at the moment. The silent killer in all of our pipelines are probably the biggest thing affecting pipeline at the moment. It's not top of funnel, it's actually indecision that's sitting in the pipeline, right? So the role of the salesperson now is not to keep piling more content on the customer. It's actually to help curate the content and the information that they have available and let them know what's valuable and what's not valuable, what they should ignore and actually what they should be focusing on.
Just in terms of content, I don't think content solves everything. I think you can have incredible content produced by marketing teams, but the challenge appears when sellers don't necessarily know when to use the content, how to use the content, how to position the content, and actually make it beneficial.
I think as well that salespeople have seen, they've kind of been taught, drop in content in outreach. So like use it as another touch point. So they're actually not seeing it as value, they're kind of seeing it as a tool, but not really focusing on the value behind it. And you're right, they're not actually reading it. They're like, I'm just going to drop in some content, like that will count as a touch point. And that's the wrong mindset again. It's providing buyers the right information at the right time, in the right format, in the right way. Basically, it's like you could easily send them a big blog, a white paper, anything like that, but just saying like, here it is, but actually the highlights for you are X, Y, and Z, or here's, I could send you the hour-long demo that we just did, but actually I've just gone and recorded a 5-minute version that you can easily share with your team, because I know you do not have time to watch an hour, and actually no one ever watches that hour-long demo.
The biggest opportunity for sellers in 2023, I think, is right under your nose, but you're using it in completely the wrong way. I think there's 2 things that we should focus on. The first one is LinkedIn. 80% of social leads last year came through LinkedIn. Like 80%, that's crazy. Social leads came through LinkedIn. But the problem is that we use LinkedIn as a push mechanism, not a pull mechanism. So you need to be able to actually build a profile on LinkedIn, talk about the problems that are resonating with your buyers. But the other opportunity is video. Like video is massive. 30% open rates, 58% of people watch a 60-second video to completion. It's about a business problem. It's like you got to use this stuff in your favor. The telephone is the most effective way of closing business. The problem is no one wants to talk to you on the telephone. Email is the worst way of getting your personality across. What do we all use? Email. Customer doesn't get back to us, what do we do again? We email them. We're just pissing the buyer off. I think video and LinkedIn are really the ways forward, I really do.
Sales isn't a linear journey. You can't have a template of 5 pieces of collateral that you're going to share every single time. Because what might work for one particular buyer is not going to necessarily work for another buyer. Being fluid, being able to adapt and change and genuinely put ourselves in that mindset. We often try to take so many shortcuts because we think we're going to be more effective and we're going to be more efficient, but actually we're harming ourselves, right? So we need to be nimble, we need to be agile. Does it require effort? Yes. Is it going to require time? Yes. Is it worth it? Hell yes.
The biggest thing we can do is, here's how I position it, is that we've got to stop selling and we've got to stop helping, which sounds like a Hallmark card, which is not designed to do that. But What the buyer needs at the moment is an agent, right? Someone who's going to sit there and say, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to make sense of all of this stuff for you, right? You've got a challenge, you've got a problem. There's an iceberg in the distance that you don't know what's coming to you. There's a load of information out there. You don't know what you're doing. And guess what? When you do eventually sign a contract, it's your name that's written on that contract. And if it goes wrong, you're going to be the person who's to blame. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with you to come up with a decision. That decision might not be to buy my product. That's fine. The decision might be to do absolutely nothing. If it's the right decision to make, I'm going to help you make that decision. And then when you work backwards from that end goal, everything should be dictated by that. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to send this case study because I've got this case study, or I'm going to do this because I've got this. It doesn't matter whether you're in enterprise or whether you're in SMB or whether you're in mid-market.
You're basically becoming the champion's partner to guide them through this process. You don't want the champion to become a messenger and going back and forth. You basically want to say to them, I know what's going to happen next because I've sold software before, I've dealt with CMOs and VPs and all of that jazz. I can anticipate this is probably going to come up. Have you dealt with your procurement team before? Yes or no? Yeah, cool. You probably know what's going to happen. Let's go through that. If not, this is a typical process, and it's actually good to get those conversations going now, because honestly, that go live date, it can suddenly get stalled for another 3 months because someone in procurement is like, hold up, we haven't signed X, Y, and Z. You're not being presumptive and saying this deal is going to happen, but just saying it's for both of our benefit to get that conversation going now. So I think just being direct, you're trying to help them and just making them aware of that is super important.
I think you want to enable, as a salesperson, you want to enable their whoever it is in the organisation to be able to own that conversation with procurement, because I think we all have the fundamental mistrust of salespeople. Sorry, coming from it from a CMO who's been sold to a few times, and so I think it's more powerful if it comes from the internal representation. And so your job is to enable them to be able to manage that process and that stakeholder as effectively as possible and navigate that. And it might be the first time they're doing it, depending on their experience.
A mutual action plan is not just creating accountability, which is super important. We need to go and do X, Y, Z, you need to do A, B, C, and together this will be achieved. But it's also painting a picture of a timeline. Help them understand what lies ahead, and also they can then share that with their team. Peace of mind. They feel a lot more comfortable and they're in trusted advisors' hands.
The final point on that plan should never be signature, right? It should always be what happens post-signature.
The way we think about it is that we try and get the customer comfortable with us asking that question. So it would go something like this. Look, as you can imagine, a large part of my job is separating from the serious from the curious when it comes to solving problems like this. It appears that your organisation is really dedicated to solving this problem. I just want to check at this stage. Are you motivated to buy a product like this? Yes. Are we the vendor of choice? No. Okay, cool. Let's have a conversation about that. Or, yes, we are. Okay, great. Would you like me to now show you how people typically buy software like this? Yeah, we'd love to see that. Okay, cool. Well, look, what we find is actually having a plan in place gets it over the line. Would you like me to share with you our mutual engagement plan and we can talk about what the steps are necessary to do that? The one piece of advice I give you this year, particularly this year in 2023 with the economy teetering at the moment, right, is that if you are selling a product and you are not aligning it to strategic objectives of the business, pack up and go fucking home. Genuinely. If your business case is, oh, we're going to save you 6 hours a week, no one gives a shit. If you have to tie it to a strategic objectives of the organisation, they will give you budget, they will create budget if you can help them achieve the big, scary, hairy goals that they're looking to achieve this year. So think about your champion. If they're articulating value based in amount of time that's being saved or amount of people who are going to be happy, you're never going to win. You've got to tie it directly to strategic objectives of that organisation. It's a non-negotiable for 2023.
Always try to make that time in your day to be learning what's happening in the industry, not just necessarily the product, right? You're going to have that product knowledge. You're going to learn it. Of course you will. But it's all the rest that you have to dedicate your own time to. Understanding the industry, understanding the challenges, what are the trends? That is something that's required of you if you want to be successful. So I genuinely mean that when I say always be learning. See what's happening in the market. Try to consume as much information as possible, but also make sense of it, right? So that when you do have that conversation with a buyer, you're able to make sense of what you've read and what you've learned for them.